Wow, that was so cool.
From Pressfed, welcome to Function. This is episode 11. My name is Matt Blackman, and as always, I am joined by Eli Turay. I still screwed up the first bit. Every time.
How you doing, Mac?
I'm all right. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Exciting times.
Yeah, WWDC again. It feels like we only ever do Apple stuff now. So I need to work on that.
There?
Yeah, that's true. This is going to be a weird episode. We're doing a two-parter, even though you're only going to hear this in one. We're doing a recording before the event and a recording after the event. And they'll be mashed together, and you'll have the experience of us being idiots as we're trying to predict what's going on in WWDC right now. Before that, we do the intro bit, and we're just going to chat about some tech that I have found, because that's how this works, right? Oh, hello.
Hello.
They can't see this, but I can see you now. Here's the thing that a follow-up from the iPad event. The stickers are gone.
Oh, why do you think Apple are cutting out stickers? They're being cheap.
I think it's a statement on environmental impact. They want to show off that they're being more environmentally friendly, so they've cut the stickers that all Apple people collected. I mean, I've got my Apple sticker collection over there. I've got my latest one from this Mac over here on the wall. So you have to have Apple stickers. But I understand why they've gone.
I don't understand it because stickers are more than packaging. When it comes to Apple products, they are a product in themselves. People look out for different colors and they're a statement piece. I don't think they're simply packaging.
Yeah, but I mean, they are added waste and added weight for no cost benefit for them, is it? That's just adding up. Once you add all of those stickers up together, that's adding quite a bit of weight to a plane or a train, whatever's shipping it over there, which costs extra fuel. So it all adds up in a way. But I would argue
that there is a cost benefit.
Yeah, they should just cut down the size of the Apple Watches boxes because they're still too big, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are. They're huge compared to the iPhone.
Well, compared to normal watches. Normal watches are kept in these small boxes with a little kind of curve to it. There's not a need for this big long box just for the strips.
Yeah, that's true.
There's also a new iPhone camera app for that's like the Blackmagic camera or the new Logic. No, not Logic. What's the editing software from Apple?
Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro video app called Kino. It looks very interesting. I was tempted to get it, but I don't own an iPhone, so no real point.
That's the one that's just basically a raw camera app, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'd recommend having a look. I follow the guy on Mastodon, so that's how I found out about it. Don't smile. I know you're laughing about that name.
Power Rangers time.
Another thing that I'm really excited about, and I might have gone a bit too nerdy about, have you heard of Daylight?
No.
Not the actual thing, but more the app, the
film
tablet. No. There's a new tablet come out called Daylight, and it's fascinating. I will send you the link now on Google Chat. It is this e-ink tablet that's actually got 120 hertz refresh rate at 60 FPS.
Oh, wow. It's about time.
I know.
Do you remember when kind of a small company had something like this, but the refresh rate was terrible about, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, and it has no tearing or ghosting at the moment from reports. I'm highly fascinated by it, and I do think it's a bit worrying because there's not a lot about it at the moment. Reviews are slowly coming out, so I can't fully say that I would buy one now because they're really expensive. Have you looked at the price yet?
No, I'm just flicking through the images of it, but I'm guessing it's 300 plus.
Yeah, quite a bit higher than 300, 700.
Oh, really? 700. How big is it?
I don't know. I haven't checked that. I just got kind of excited by the e-ink. I do.
All right, let's click order now.
Don't buy it now.
$720.
I know. That's why I couldn't pre-order it. I'd love to review it, but I can't pre-order it because
it's the Founders Edition, though. So
yeah, I think it's a fascinating tablet, especially for the fact that e-ink is so slow. They do say it won't keep its location anymore because it's more of an active state. How the new e-ink works is there's a good video. I'll link it in the show notes about how it works. But instead of having such a far distance, they've just shortened the distance between the black and white view instead, allowing it to be really fast.
Refresh rate that refresh rate is what they've been working on, right? Because I've got the Kindle Oasis, and at the time, that was when I got it. It was like the peak of e-ink consumer technology, and it's still slow, and the refresh rate is faster than the others, but it's still super slow. And I always thought if they could get that refresh rate to 30, but 60, that's usable.
I know. I'm so tempted to get it. Because I've been thinking a lot since the last one how much I really want that iPad that just came out. Not the Pro. I went to go and have a look at the Pro, but I'm kind of interested in iPad again, but it's far too expensive for any of it.
What's the screen like? I haven't actually seen one.
Oh, it's great. I went to an Apple store recently and just pretty much geeked out with the guy at the Apple store and just chatted about how the screen's lovely. And I can't how do I phrase this? I cannot convince myself to buy it, though, for what it does.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough.
Yeah. I saw a stat. Whose video was I watching? Brian Tong. I like my Brian Tong. Shout out to Brian Tong. And he had some statistics about upgrading and iPads and how consumers don't upgrade their iPads for 5+ years compared to iPhones. And they only do it on necessity when the old one breaks. So people aren't upgrading our iPads for features. It's really hard to justify buying a new iPad, even though they're significantly cheaper than iPhones, starting anyway. Strange.
Yeah, which is weird, based on what they've got in them.
Yeah, my iPad's, very old, but I never think about changing it.
I've got the iPad Air second or third generation? Fourth generation. So that's getting a bit old now.
I think the next step for me would be, I've got the 13 or the 12.9 2018 Pro, and for me to upgrade, I'd want a bigger screen on an iPad. I'd love to have a 15-inch iPad. Yeah, because I use it as a second display a lot. I use it because it's USB-C. I use it as a display for my camera when I'm doing videos. So bigger in that lightweight design would be great.
You should just buy another display. That's my...
No, because power, those kind of things are so unique about the iPad.
So actually, that kind of reminds me, there's been this big debate at the moment whether iPad should run Mac OS on it. And I don't agree with it entirely, but I do feel like the Pro one should run Mac OS. Every other one underneath it, iPad OS. If it could run Mac OS, I feel like you could get more done with it now, just because it's not powerful. Well, no, it's powerful enough. The UI itself and the OS is not powerful enough to do any of the work, personally, I want to do in the world of editing or content creation.
Would you want to be able to do that work on an iPad Pro with your finger, or would it require some sort of input trackpad or something?
That I feel like with most iPad Pros, they get the trackpad anyway, the keyboard and trackpad. I don't think everyone does. That's why I think it gives more of a separation between the Air and the Pro, because the Air, perfectly good for doing artwork, from what I've seen.
YouTube.
Drawing, editing very short videos for YouTube. Not simple, like a partially powerful world that you're delving into. But if you're editing 4K, you've got to get these nice transitions done, the fully After Effects work. I mean, there's no good... there's partially a good alternative to After Effects on there. But you can't modify anything in there. And I think it's the file system that really lets it down on that side.
So what do you see them doing then? Would it be a hybrid system where you log in and you choose iOS or Mac OS? Or would it be kind of this dedicated hybrid system that's consistently kind of switchable?
I think that instead of bothering to do a hybrid system, the iPad Pro should, and I know everyone would disagree with me on this, just launch with Mac OS on it instead.
Wouldn't sell. It just wouldn't sell.
It'd be interesting to know, is what I'd say. I mean, they probably
because
already
the price point would be $1,300, and people are then going to look at, well, I can buy myself a MacBook Air for that, plus accessories.
Yeah, but it's not touchscreen, is it? This is why I was talking to the guy at the Apple store about this. I personally think that the iMacs, they've outlasted their use now, and they're full of less powerful. But I mean, iMacs were so synonymous with Apple, they can't get rid of them. So what do they do?
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like because they've had this integration for years, they could put touchscreen on an iMac, making it like the perfect store assistant tool instead. I can imagine so many shops with having a bright yellow iMac and being able to quickly shop on them. It'd be great.
Yeah, and you can see them at tills with checking out and things like that.
Yeah.
That would work. I do feel like Apple's given up on the iMac a bit, haven't they? I mean, it's M1 still, isn't it? Perhaps it's M2. I'm not sure. But it's certainly not moving with the times.
I think it is M2, actually. Yeah. And we can admit it looks amazing, but we wouldn't buy it, would it? Or would we? Either of us.
No, I would buy the 20. Well, I had the 27-inch, I can't remember what year model I had, 2011 maybe, 2012. And I was the person waiting for the new 27-inch version, and it didn't come. So I switched to a Mac Mini. And I think there's a gap there. If they made a 27-inch M4 or even M3 with a touchscreen at that price point of what would be maybe £1,300, it's back. iMacs are everywhere again.
So this is our WWDC predictions. There's been a lot of rumors and bits of news going around. I don't suppose you know any rumors or theories that you've got on your own?
None that are not AI related, actually, no.
Yeah, it does feel like this event's going to be AI heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes the event quite boring or not, but I have a few things that I've noted down, but you were about to say something, so off you go.
I will be disappointed if it is AI heavy because, as you know, we're not going to get Mac OS. We're not going to get iOS until September. And if it's just AI, that gives us nothing to... I mean, by then, if it's just AI, we'd probably be able to try it on ChatGPT or somewhere else by then. So it needs something that's uniquely Apple.
But they also need to catch up with all of this AI stuff that they missed out on so far.
Do they?
I think they do based on the market share at the moment. Everything's kind of wanting them to do this AI stuff. That's why they didn't mention it the first year. They just went, we're not going to mention it because maybe this will blow over and we'll catch up and make it better. But then suddenly it got so much more interesting and so much more in the eyesights of the everyday person that they suddenly had to catch up very quickly. And that's why we had the iPad event and all that.
Okay.
So here's the stuff I've got. The iPhone SE, they're going to announce the iPhone SE apparently at the event in some way. I don't know whether it's going to be mentioned or kind of hidden on the website, but I'm excited to hear about the iPhone SE. The iPad OLED always on display will get is a rumor that we'll get this as an update. I want to know if the Vision Pro experience will get better, if they'll announce anything. Maybe they'll open up more of those weird worlds that they have.
The immersion modes, whatever they are.
Yeah. We've got the new HomePod, possibly going to be announced at this thing.
With a screen.
Maybe the Vision Pro will be released in other locations. We'll be told the date of when it will be released. The Apple Pebble, that's an interesting one. It's a possible tracker that, actually nobody knows what it is, but it works with the Vision Pro apparently. So I'm intrigued. It's a stone pendant that you just put on stuff, an air tag-like system that is intended to be used in conjunction with the Vision Pro.
Feels too early for a Vision Pro accessory when it's not in every market.
That is true, yeah.
Apple will like to get that saturation. Vision Pro is in every household. Now let's bring accessories for it. And remember, they didn't make accessories for the iPhone for generations until they knew they had a market there. They didn't make cases. They didn't make batteries.
That's very happy.
I don't see that at all. Yeah. Good predictions, though. They sound quite cool. I like the idea of the new iPhone. The iPhone, what did you call it?
SE. The iPhone SE. Because the iPhone SE we've had for years, but it's finally getting an update to get a new shell. And I'm so excited for this because it allows me, a person who's not very heavy with phones, I'm using the Nothing phone, not a very powerful phone, but I don't need it to be. I just watch YouTube on it or I read news on it. I don't really use it for very heavy stuff, not even filming. So to have an SE with the latest OS and a slightly updated chip and one camera, very important to me, one camera, so it doesn't look bloody ugly like all the other ones. Yeah. I'm happy. Another thing that's been mentioned is eSIM only iPhones. I have no idea if this is an American only thing because I don't actually know why we don't have eSIM over here at the moment.
There is a network of eSIM. What network is that? It is here. It's just not the standard at the moment. 3. Is it
3?
3? Yeah. So we do have eSIMs. I just don't think they're super popular yet. I do like the idea of eSIMs. When it first got announced all those years ago, I kind of thought, is this Apple's way of locking you in? But actually, it just makes sense. Why do we need a little card to tell our phone what network to connect to? That is old thinking. In fact, I can remember when SIM cards were the same size as credit cards. Literally, it was a credit card that you put into your phone when I had a Motorola Memphis phone. And then they went down to the regular SIM size, and we couldn't believe this instruction, basically it's a set of instructions, were on this tiny card. But we've outlived it. Why can't we have eSIMs?
I think
Great.
people are still kind of enjoying having them. I think there's a very weird way of putting that, but who knows? The last bit of rumor news that I've got is from Mark Gurman, a trusted source for many people that I follow online, has reported that, because I haven't had time to read the whole article. I just saw it online. This is very quickly added on towards the end. There will be no product releases in the event.
Good.
You think that's
Do
good?
you know what that means? Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Plus, I can't afford any new software, so I'm really happy.
I want to go and make a game part of this. You ready?
Okay.
You get 5 predictions. You get a new product, minor update, another minor update, OS, and a risky pick. Each one is scored at different points. So new product is 5 points, minor product is 3 points, OS update is 2 points, and a risky pick is 10 points. I will send you a photo because I understand that this is confusing.
Yes.
Let me attach that now. Once I figure
Oh,
out.
I'm going to smash this. 5 for 5.
5
If
for
it was
5.
5. Yeah, for
Good
sure.
to know you're confident. So there is the score system now sent to you.
Right. Okay. Oh, I like that. That's cool.
This will be posted on the socials. That's on Mastodon and on Twitter. I don't know what we are on either of those platforms, so I'll link those below, as well as on the YouTube channel, which I do know is at Functions Pod.
Are you ready?
Yeah. What are you going to go for first?
Okay. I'm going to go for a new product. I mean, we've just said there won't be any new products, but if there was a new product, it's going to be new AirPods.
Okay, I'm glad.
Now, what are the ones that go? What are the ones that go over your head? AirPods Pro? I don't know what they're called. The
Max.
overhead AirPods. AirPods Max. So I think new AirPods Max with the new chips, same design, but a new product that can handle more.
I should also state per subject, we'll take this in turns, and whatever you pick, I can't pick.
Okay, cool. So what is your new product?
It's got to be the new HomePods.
Right.
I really hope that they're going to come out because I want a HomePod.
What would you want, a small one or back
I'll
to
get
the
the
big?
small one, yeah.
I've got a first gen HomePod and I use it all the time. However, it sits under my television in my bedroom, and I was watching The Gentleman, which is a Guy Ritchie TV show.
I watched that.
And on one of the episodes, it just kept setting off the AirPod, and he kept saying, "I'm here. I can help you with that right now." And I just couldn't stop it. It was so annoying. But yeah,
Is there no mute button on it? Like you can't
is
stop
there?
the microphone?
I don't think you can.
Because I know that I've got that with my Google Home. Yeah, I know. Seeing
Yeah.
I've got Google Home. I tell you what, that Google Home's really annoying. Goes off all the time. Although so does your one apparently. What is your minor update?
Okay, so for 3 points, a minor update is going to be... I just had it. It's gone now. Oh, CarPlay. I think CarPlay updates are coming, and they're going to support more cars and support Tesla? Maybe.
I don't know about that.
No, but yeah, CarPlay for sure.
I don't know what to pick for a minor update for me. I guess I'll go for the OLED always on display for the iPad.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what the purpose would be for that, but cool. All right.
Well, it's, you know, when you put your iPhone sideways, you get that little dashboard of all the widgets. Imagine that on your
Turn that
iPad.
off straight away.
You turn it off.
Straight away, yeah.
Why? That's cool.
Do you know what? Because I have, and I need to sort this out, and every time it comes on, I think, but I have sleep turned on for like 10:30. So, you know, your phone kind of turns off and your watch turns off.
Yeah.
So if I have my phone out after 10:30, it always does that weird clock thing. And I DJ on a weekend, so I'm out after 10:30, and it annoys me. So I just turned it off.
Okay. I mean, you can turn it so it only turns on when you've got it powered. Okay. I think that's a cool thing. I would keep it on if I had an iPhone. Right. What is your second minor update pick?
Okay, so my minor updates are going to be software based because I really, truly don't believe we're going to get hardware. But my next minor update, I think, is going to be to iCloud structure and pricing. I think iCloud is going to get cheaper for more storage because I believe they're introducing new features that are going to require iCloud. And I think the structure is going to change. They're probably going to introduce a new tier in relation to ChatGPT type integration. That's kind of a major update, actually, but I'm going to call it minor.
We don't have a major update section. That'll be added the next time we do this. I guess, minor update is I don't know if this counts as a minor update. I'm going to pick Siri. I think Siri will get updated.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to be specific. I mean Siri integration, chatting to it, not typing to it. I don't feel like we're going to get any LLM chat typey ones. I think we're just going to get LLM talky ones.
Okay. That's OS update, but I'll let you have that.
It's a minor update. I wouldn't say it's an OS update because it's separate.
If they revamp Siri, that's major. And that's kind of OS deep, isn't it, Siri?
Well, I mean, they haven't updated Siri in a while, but when was Siri last time very interesting to anyone?
Yeah, it wasn't. I use Siri every day, but I understand.
I think the last time I used Siri was when I found it funny that it couldn't understand Irish people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Probably about 8. Sorry.
OS update next.
Yeah.
And this is a challenging one. I really don't know where to go with this. Because we've got Mac OS, iOS, Watch OS, TV OS, and now the Vision OS. Is it called Vision OS or Reality OS?
I think it is called Vision OS.
Right, okay. I mean, there's what I'd like to have, and there's what they will probably do. So, OS update on Mac, I'm going to go for... Can you go first?
Can I go first? Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
I think they will change up the settings in Mac OS just a little bit. Not entirely. I don't think they're going to redesign all of it, but I think they will change parts of it because there's a big rumor at the moment that they're changing iOS's UI, possibly due to the Vision Pro. I just think they're going to update the settings.
Okay, I've borrowed something a little from the Windows event recently, which I thought was really actually incredible because Windows have been lacking, and I like what they've done now with their new OS updates.
You not find it creepy?
And I find it creepy, but I think it's forward thinking, and actually it's a little bit like what Apple already does, just without the AI element. So my OS update is going to be, Jesus, what's the Apple backup system called? I've forgotten.
Oh, Time Machine.
So I think OS update, Time Machine is going to be updated.
Wow, okay.
Platform wide, so across all of your platforms. And Time Machine is going to integrate AI because Time Machine kind of does what the Windows thing done already. It kind of takes snapshots, but they're not AI based. They're not every few seconds. And I think Apple are going to do that, but they're going to sell us and convince us on the privacy aspect, which Windows failed to do, even though they said privacy about 3 times in that segment.
Yeah. You know, Windows, the one that everyone thinks of as private. So here's the last one, worth a whole 10 points. What is your risky pick? A pick you don't know will happen, but you really hope will.
Oh, okay. So my risky pick, which probably won't happen, and I said there won't be products, but it would be a foldable tablet.
Oh, you're going for the bendy
18
screen.
inches. 18-inch foldable tablet. They can charge $2,000. I'm buying it.
I see. I'm not a big fan of foldable technology, so I've never understood why people want that much.
Because you can have a bigger thing in a smaller form factor. It's quite simple, surely.
Yeah, but then you've got the wear and tear on that fold.
Listen, Apple consumers don't care about wear and tear. We're rich. Well, they want us to be rich. Wow. We've got Klarna.
I put a D-brand skin on the back of my Mac, and it hurt me. Just spending ages. I did it so many times, and then I kind of damaged the skin, and I just don't want to look at it, but it protects my Mac.
Can we get D-brand in the UK then?
Yeah, I've got tons of D-brand stuff.
Oh, right. I remember looking years ago, and it wasn't a UK store.
I've got
that
a
was years ago.
case on my Steam Deck and skins on the trackpad, and I think I have D-brand somewhere else.
You just like Marquez Brownlee too much.
I had it on my phone. I had like a glass protector, but my cat sat on it when I was trying to put it on, and it was ruined. It had cat hair all over it.
Dear.
Anyway, my risky pick is that the Vision Pro will get the what's the hotbar, the touchscreen hotbar called on the MacBooks? Do you remember those?
The touch bar.
The touch bar. I think the Vision Pro will get the touch bar.
How? What? I don't understand. So a virtual touch bar.
Yes.
Okay. So similar to, have you seen when you use your iPad as a second display by default, it will have like a touch bar on it?
Yeah,
have you
I've seen that. I saw it on the Pro when I was looking at it. That's what I'm thinking.
So something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine either you put down an Apple keyboard, because they've already got the technology to identify a Mac. If you could put down an Apple keyboard and just above the keyboard, it automatically loads that bar, that would be amazing. Or when you're in a virtual world and you've got that virtual keyboard, it'd be great to have that bar on the top.
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll see. That is high risk.
I think it's very low likely, not very likely to happen at all, but I hope.
Okay. So I think I'm taking, looking at that, I'm confident I've got 8 points there.
Maybe I should 3D print like an award for one of us. Most likely. I think you have got a high chance of winning, to be fair, because you've gone for the AirPods Max, which I've heard rumors of, CarPlay, which I've heard rumors of, iCloud, I have not heard anything about, Time Machine, I've not heard anything about, and Foldable Tablet, you've got more of a chance than I do on that one.
Time Machine's a bit of a waste, really, because iCloud has been taken, they haven't mentioned Time Machine since iCloud got really put in place.
No.
But there is hope for us that like to keep things local. I've still got my old time capsule somewhere, 2 terabyte.
I think we've got one somewhere. Yeah, it's attached to the wall in the living room. We've not plugged it in for years, though. Why not? Let's throw this in. Have you got any bits of tech or music you've been listening to that you'd like to recommend?
Okay, so tech-wise, wow, I bought something recently. Okay, it's not tech in the traditional sense. I've got a new bit of tech from Ninja.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's getting Ninja products at the moment, aren't they?
Oh, I've had a few, yeah. So this is my 3rd Ninja product now. They're just they have got that kind of Apple thing about them in terms of design and consistency, and they're not the best on the market, but everyone sees them as the best because they kind of market, they bring things to market in a good way. I got the Ninja, the naming's a bit weird, but the Creamy. But it's a great product.
That's not a great name, no.
No, it's not a great name, but it says what it does. It makes cream. So it makes ice cream, it makes sorbet, it makes milkshakes. Great product. And as I bought it, I realized there's a second one that's now getting released, or maybe it has been released and is more integrated with phones and things like that. So
that must have been annoying.
Slightly gutted, but hey. In terms of music, I just started listening to a new album yesterday, actually. So I'm quite, if you don't know me, I'm quite into Amapiano, which is a form of South African, it's like a mix between house and Afro beats, I guess. And Ira Starr is one of the lead artists in there, and she released an album called The Year I Turned 21 this week, which is great.
Okay. That sounds interesting, actually. I have 2 recommendations as well. I was talking to my dad and he recommended a book, and then I've been listening to it on Audible. I've been listening to Atomic Habits. It's been very interesting. I've very much enjoyed listening to that, and I would highly recommend you do as well.
What's it about?
It's about trying to figure out how you yourself will get yourself into a good habit, how to eliminate bad habits and work on good habits.
Okay. James Clear.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to recommend is a song called Song for You by Marba Rochelle, I think. That's how you pronounce it. From the album Small Hours. It's a great song, very bass heavy, which surprised me. And I can't play it on my overhead speakers because they just die. But it sounds amazing. And I think it's a very nice, calming song to listen to when working on stuff.
Cool. Nice. Send the link.
I've got it on Spotify. You don't listen on Spotify, do you?
It's cool. I've got a free account. I can check it out.
Okay.
Hold on, before we go,
Oh, okay.
tell me, how are you watching the Apple event? What are you doing? What are you eating? What screen have you got? Like, what's the temperature of the room?
What's the temperature of the room? Well, okay, so if we go temperature-wise, it'd be 24 degrees.
Okay.
I might be watching it on the display right next to me, which is just a Dell with a Apple TV plugged into it. That, or I'm watching it in the living room at 4K. That's my options. I don't think I might be eating dinner at that time, depending on what time it's on. That's about it for me. What are you doing?
It's a 6 o'clock event, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so I will be eating at that time.
Well, the last few Apple events where I've been at home and able to watch it live, I don't think I watched the last one live, but the ones that I have watched live, my kids just keep coming in and saying, oh, what's going on now? Oh, you're going to buy that? And it annoys me because you have to listen to what's being said at these Apple events. So I'm going to be in the studio. I'm going to set the couch up right in front of my ultra-wide LG screen. I'm going to wear headphones, noise-cancelling AirPods so that I can't hear people trying to get in my studio. And I think I'll have a drink whilst I'm watching it.
Well, if you're in the studio and I'm in here, why don't we just get on a call together and just watch it like that?
Because you'll talk to me when I'm trying to hear it.
You can mute me. It's the amazing of
I'm up for it. We can do it. I'm up for that.
I'm not sure if we should record it, but I mean, we can, because that would be a long episode to edit and fix all that stuff. But we can definitely just sit and chat about it.
You can cut, like, if you recorded it, you could cut any interesting reactions and use them. And if not, you could just delete it.
I could. That's a good point. All right. It's good. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm happy about that. All right. Now we can wrap up. All right. See you in a few seconds if you're listening. For us, 6 days. Bye. We're back and WWDC is done. We got none of our predictions right. None of them.
I'm sure I got one.
Okay, so you've technically got one, but only because of it was in the what do they call that conference afterwards with the developers?
Yeah, well, it goes on a week, doesn't it? Are you
Yeah.
talking about CarPlay?
Yeah, CarPlay
Yeah.
it wasn't mentioned in the actual presentation at WWDC, but it was mentioned in state of the
They're like
State of the
workshop
Union.
type things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that and I thought, that's 1 point. 500.
If I look at my notes, I mentioned Siri, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the recording, even though I didn't note it down, that there wouldn't be a text prompt in it. So I don't think I get it because I said that.
You said there would be, didn't you?
Did I say there would be?
Oh, we'll have to rewind and check.
Siri integration, chatting to it, not typing to it. I don't feel like we're going to get any LLM chat typey ones. I think we're just going to get LLM talky ones. If that is true, we drawed. Because the points are exactly the same. Because no
Yeah.
iCloud update, no Time
No.
Machine update, no foldable tablet, not even a mention of the AirPod Max, even though they
No.
really should update that soon.
That was strange because they'd done the AirPods and it was a perfect, it's a layup.
I really expected them to announce the new HomePod, but they didn't. And I understand why they didn't, because they just launched Apple Intelligence, not AI anymore, Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that was so predicted and it made me and my family all laugh.
I mean, it made me laugh, but then after a couple of minutes, it just makes sense, doesn't it? What?
Oh, I have to say, the marketing team, great job.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
They justified the choice of calling it Apple Intelligence. They didn't hide the fact. They used AI at first, and then they said Apple Intelligence because of these key things. This is what makes it Apple Intelligence. And I bought in. I was like, yeah, you're right.
When watching a video afterwards, they did actually say this is Apple's new AI, artificial intelligence. So technically it's AI. Oh.
That's cool. AA. That's what we're going to call it. Apple AA.
So I have to say, I really liked the opening of the event. You know, with the plane and then the
jumping
wooden
out the plane?
insides. I thought that was great. And the little, I've forgotten the name of the guy now, but whoever was flying, that was a good.
Oh, and he's like, I'm getting too old for this with his iPod Touch.
Yeah, but he actually works for Apple, and I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, he does. He used to be at a lot of the older keynotes.
Yeah,
He's great.
I love the jumpsuits. I hope they sell those. I can't imagine myself being in one, but
And they managed to integrate the Pride Month as well into the design. I think Apple just got their finger on the pulse. They know what's going on. They know what people think of them, and they can poke little jokes at themselves, and it works.
the biggest example of they know what's going on is the AI launch that they just did.
Yeah.
It was perfect, pretty much. But we'll get to that first.
Okay.
We've got the Vision Pro to talk about.
Have we really?
Not really, but I mean, in the list of order of when they were announced, the Vision Pro
Okay.
had something. I like the button that they introduced, which was blatantly stolen from Meta because they literally announced that maybe a month or two ago. That
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the little button. That's all Meta. Ultra wide screen available now in it, which is amazing. I'm glad they did that.
For the laptop, that would be. Imagine editing a video on that.
Oh, it'd be lovely. They've got a new developer API. The main one that I saw was the tabletop developer AI got
Yes,
new
I saw that.
stuff. It looks great. I mainly wanted to focus on the Vision Pro's Apple TV content that will be coming out soon because they said they're going to release some new stuff. And they just openly teamed up with two very important camera companies to release Vision Pro lenses and cameras, which are just weird.
And a workflow that included compressor.
Yeah. I haven't seen compressor mentioned for a very long time.
I forgot compressor was a thing.
I'm pretty sure, isn't it just built into Logic now?
Compressor is part of the Final Cut package. So when Final Cut the Final Cut package used to include compressor as a separate program when it was on old school DVD. And now I think it's its own separate app on the App Store. But the engine itself is included as part of Final Cut, I think, for rendering and things like that.
Found it so funny looking at the Blackmagic camera. Have you looked at it afterwards?
No.
It's perhaps the ugliest and yet most beautiful camera they released.
Yeah.
Because it looks terrible, but it's so big. I would be fascinated to film with it.
I kind of sensed that Apple were leaning towards Blackmagic as a company when they started featuring their software, DaVinci, in kind of screenshots and stuff about a year ago, which I thought was strange considering they compete with them directly. There's this relationship's been building, hasn't it?
Do you see Logic Pro getting updated that often, though? Not Logic, Final Cut. Do you see Final Cut getting updated that often compared to Blackmagic updating DaVinci all the time?
Are you trying to hint that Apple might be dropping Final Cut or giving up on Final Cut?
I don't think they're giving up on it, but they obviously see DaVinci as a better alternative already. So why keep developing on that when they have something that maybe most of the people can use, but if they really want people to do the most powerful editing, they can go over to DaVinci.
Yeah, I suppose so. Apple have won once you've got a Mac anyway. I'm looking at this camera. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember seeing that in the keynote. I'm sure they showed the side, but not the lens view of it.
Oh, they did. I laughed. I found it great. And the Canon lens is not funny, but interesting, I would say. I'd like to see the insides of that lens to see what happens.
Wow. Cool. They've got a picture of it on a drone here too.
What?
So
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. So it must be light enough and stable enough for that too. Cool.
They very, very specifically mentioned only editable on the Final Cut for Mac. They didn't say iPad. They didn't just say Final Cut. They went for Mac. So I'm intrigued on what the power is behind that.
Yeah, that's interesting because, again, they keep undercutting the proness of the iPad, don't they?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Generated photos. That was boring. We don't need to look at that, really.
Well, do you see what Apple always run, and they play this game and they walk the line of educating people that are just everyday tech people and keeping us interested. And that was one of those moments where we all said, okay, Firefly's had this for a long time. All of the other sites have had this for a long time. But I do like the way they've made it accessible so my mum could use it. I think that's great.
And here's the most important thing. I can't believe we didn't mention this first. It's releasing in the UK in July.
Yes. Okay, right. It's releasing in the UK in July, which means for everyone, they get to go to an Apple store, test it, and never buy it.
Never buy it. Yeah. I mean, I know that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm going to be doing that too. The difference is I might end up buying it.
If you do, that'd be great for the podcast.
I mean, yeah, if it's good enough. I remember, and I've said this on the podcast before, I remember saying I'm not going to get the iPad when it first got released. Driving down to Norwich, testing it, and as soon as I touched it, I bought it. I couldn't afford it at the time. I don't think I had the money on me that month, but I bought it because it was, cliche, a magical kind of experience. And I think that's how they're going to sell a few of these Vision Pros. A few.
Yeah. I'm just shocked that you brought it as soon as you just used it. That's insane. But okay.
Yeah. Well, it was a new, unique thing. Like no one had ever. There'd been tablets, but mainstream wise, I've never touched a tablet. I remember going on Safari and flicking through a web page, and I thought, oh no, I'm not leaving without this thing, and I bought it straight away.
On that topic, I guess we can move over to iOS, or we can go to the iPad. Let's go for the iPad first because not a lot happened to the iPad.
No,
but I like it.
I don't know. I think it's a missed opportunity. I like the floating kind of not menu bar they've got.
I like that as well.
They should have made it a menu bar. It would have made the iPad so much more pro.
They made it a customizable menu bar, so that's one thing.
Yeah, I suppose it could evolve, and that's one thing I always take from these WWDC events. Okay, they've introduced something that's going to evolve into something else in a few years that I like.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there just wasn't a lot, was there? I mean, they announced a calculator app, like, what, 15, 16 years later?
Yeah, but it's quite cool, though.
It is quite cool. I mean, it's going to ruin maths homework, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
because
I love it.
You'll be sat in lesson now, and you can just write exactly what the teacher has put on the board, and there you go, it solved it.
It solved it in real time. What did I like about the iPad? I really, 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 really liked the handwriting recognition thing. I thought that was great. And the way you can edit that text is amazing.
Oh, I was truly... I watched so many people talk about this. Marcus Brownlee, Linus, and Snazzy Labs. Not one of them mentioned the fact you can delete your own handwriting like text.
Brilliant. Scribble it out.
That has always been the reason why I don't use iPads and stuff. I've been a big keyboard user for years. My handwriting's awful.
Yeah.
And to be able to just quickly delete sections and go back over them, that's amazing.
Yeah. And we have these two versions of ourselves from school where you can write really neatly, or when you're really writing and you just do it quickly because you've got to get the idea down. And the fact that you can just get the idea down now and it will make it really neat in your style, that's amazing. It's something I never knew that I needed.
I just can't wait for that. And that genuinely tempted me to get an iPad again. Every time I chuck it out of my mind and go, I don't want an iPad. And then they announce something really cool. I go, maybe.
Will it work? Is that exclusive to one type of Apple Pencil, or is that not a pencil-related feature?
I don't think that's a pencil-related feature. It wasn't mentioned in the keynote. I know that the Magic Wand thing, I think, has some limitations depending on which pencil you've got.
Yeah, that's on the new ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's also iPad's new sharing screen so you can help the older people in your family.
I'm confused with this. Didn't they already release that feature? I thought that was already a thing.
No, they didn't have a remote in from another iPad.
For iPhone they do, because you can FaceTime and then you can control the other person's iPhone. I've done that.
Really?
Yes.
How long ago did they announce that?
That's been around for a few years. I've definitely done that. Can you control it? No, you can't control it. You can see it. So you can FaceTime someone and then you can view their screen and talk them through a problem. That's what I've done.
Well, now you can control their iPad or draw on it for them.
That's cool.
It does mean you now don't get away from helping others with IT.
But that is the way I want to help people with IT. I don't know about you. I just find it frustrating on the phone when I say, no, go up, left, the other left. So yeah, that really does solve
If I
that
could
problem.
get it to remote into a PC and I could draw, that'd be amazing. They would never do that, but that would be amazing.
Listen, we've said Apple would never do, and they've done lots of things at this WWDC that they would never do. So you never know.
That is true. This was perhaps the most exciting WWDC I've seen in a while, and yet we still got all our predictions wrong. That might be why it was so exciting.
Yeah. The sign of a good company that innovates or pushes things forward is a company that does things that you didn't know needed to be done. And that's what they've done.
They released something on Windows. I'm trying to remember what it was now.
That was the key passwords.
That was it. Passwords. Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of tech people responding positively to that. I don't see what's new there, apart from it's now in an app called Passwords.
It's just moving it from settings to an app called Passwords, and you can easily access it instead. Because you had to go onto settings, unlock it with your ID, and then you had to scroll through it and find it. And at least with this app, it's now got categories and it allows you to easily access it. You still have to unlock it with your Apple ID, but it's an easier place to get to.
On my Mac, all I do, Command Spacebar, type in key for keychain, hit enter, I'm there. I don't see what, it's just an inconvenience for me now because now I've got to use the app.
Yeah, that is true.
And I liked Keychain. I think Keychain's a better name, but whatever.
I mean, it's still using Keychain in the background.
It is, but it's no longer called Keychain. Goodbye, Keychain.
Well, at least Siri didn't die. I'm happy about that.
But this new Siri logo is ugly.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with you. But it took me a while to realize what it was referencing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's a terrible logo, but it's referencing its third version. The one with like the color bars overlapping.
I thought it was like a DNA strand type.
It does look like a DNA strand, and or an hourglass, a really weird one. But yeah, I have to agree with you. I generally don't like the logo at all. I wish they kind of kept with the old one and then just said Siri now has access to all of this. I do like the new color buffing, but we're jumping ahead.
Okay.
Let's talk about audio and TV.
Audio? What did we get for audio?
We got the yes/no movement that looked incredibly creepy.
In the elevator.
Yeah. Well, he was doing some sort of puppy dog face when he was doing, no. It made me laugh quite a bit. I mean, this whole event was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it was. I think Apple need to dial back a bit. I think they've reached peak funniness and humor.
Peak funniness.
Yeah, and they might go too far if they carry on. They've now got to dial it back for the future, I think. But no, that feature, actually, surprisingly, is a feature that I've always wanted. I've never expressed it in any kind of a way because it's such a small thing, but I walk a lot with my AirPods on and I always get notifications. The normal one is, are you walking? Do you want to register this as a exercise? And I want to say yes, but I don't want to say yes out loud when I'm walking down the street. So that's great.
I just don't have any assistant that does that.
And now that Siri's better, it's going to be probably asking you a lot more about what you're doing. So I guess that's going to be needed a lot more.
I'm so excited about all that, but we keep jumping ahead. The insights for Apple TV using
AKA X-Ray.
Yeah, X-Ray from Amazon.
Yeah.
I like the fact no one mentioned that as well, even though it is better because it allows you to directly add stuff to your iTunes account.
Yeah.
Or Apple Music,
mean, nobody uses X-Ray. That's probably why no one knew it existed. However, I use X-Ray and I'm an IMDb member and it's probably one of my top 5 websites in terms of usage. And X-Ray is powered by IMDb. So I'd like to see what powers the Apple one. And I hope it's not Wikipedia.
The free online encyclopedia that anyone can edit.
Yeah, because IMDb is the actors and the kind of crew themselves contribute to IMDb and the studio. So it's up to date and it's a bit more trustworthy in my opinion.
I don't like IMDb. I've tried to like it
Really?
many times. Yeah, I like the fact it provides all the data and I have it on my phone, but I think the app is horrible. It needs an entirely redesign. It's too cluttered. It's full of advertising.
I agree.
I don't mind having some adverts in places. I mean, I'm a user of Letterboxd as well.
Yes, I tried that.
And Letterboxd is just so much better to me because it has all of that data. It's not really focused on that. It's more focused on people's reviews, but it does still have access to that data directly from IMDb, and yet it's just nicer to look at.
So I wonder then who Apple are using, if they've created their own database through their connections with their Apple, streaming stuff. Be interesting. The Shazam part is great, and my son clapped his hands. We watched it. We watched it a little bit later that night, but when he saw that, he clapped his hands because I've got a feeling his whole kind of Apple Music is full of soundtracks from films. So that's great.
My favorite feature that they announced at that thing was the vocal boost, which is just amazing. Every app should have this. I don't know why it's not a default personally. Why are so many shows making it so difficult to hear what is going on in the thing?
I saw that it was trending as Nolan mode.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I like that.
That's great.
Nolan mode. His movies, they get so much more difficult to listen to every time.
It's great though. I mean, but then the moral question is, should we be retuning the artist's work in real time to suit our own convenience and expectations? I don't know.
I can answer that. Yes, because I want to hear the lines. Okay, to a certain extent, if it's redesigning it, let's say we put it's initially released at 30 FPS, but someone's used an AI to make it at 60 FPS, I'm not going to watch it because that's nowhere near its original intent, or someone's recolored it. Probably not going to watch it. But if you're just increasing the volume of the vocals and decreasing the volume of the music or the background noise, I'm very much happy to be using that tool.
So I'd like to see, and it's probably out there, and I'll check. I'd like to see the process behind it, because they could do a stems approach where they require the filmmakers to provide all 48 tracks of the mix or whatever it is. And then Apple will just intelligently select the mix that has the dialogue in it and raise it and lower it in places. And if that's what's going on, then the artists are involved directly in the process and aware and happy for that to happen.
I doubt that's what's happening.
What I suspect is happening is they're using the technology that's now in Logic, where they're splitting stems and they're able to get dialogue, and they're reducing things artificially, which sounds great, but is not the same as having the original stems and may result in some artifacts within the audio. But most people, again, listening on their kind of flat screen TVs, it doesn't matter. They just want to hear the dialogue.
Yeah. I wonder if it's also just Apple TV stuff, or if it's movies and TV in general on Apple TV.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
May I say that naming convention, I didn't used to think of it as difficult, but it really is, because you've got the Apple TV subscription and the product, the Apple TV.
Yes, absolutely. They should have gone back to iTV, but obviously they had some naming issues there.
They did, yeah. They announced a new aspect ratio, which, yay, I think.
21:9?
Yeah.
That's for projectors, right?
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand. Has that been an issue?
Yeah, we used to have the Apple TV that's currently in my room plugged into the projector, and it just never fully fit the whole projector.
Oh, right.
Because it just treated it like a TV, which is what it's for.
Yeah.
So to have that support is great, but I'm not imagining a lot of people will be affected by that choice. It's more of a side mention. And I will say that I swapped over to the beta on my Apple TV, right, just to have this feature, and it was new screensavers.
Oh, okay. Snoopy, was it on there?
Yeah, Snoopy. For me, it was the clock one. If I can just have a nice, huge, this sounds wrong, clock in my room.
And it integrates with your picture and
splits
it up into layers, right?
Yeah, so I'm happy with that. It just, I've never had anything to tell the time in my room, and honestly, it is actually quite a problem. Because I usually turn it off on my laptops and everything.
Yeah. If you're going to install an early beta from day one, I guess Apple TV is your safest bet, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Me and my dad were discussing, like, don't install any beta, especially on the Mac that you do all your work on.
Yeah. Never.
But Apple TV, I mean, if I lose some data and it gets corrupted, I can just reset it and
that's
carry on.
The cloud, isn't it? Most of that stuff. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. And plus, it's just streaming services and YouTube on there. Watch. There wasn't a lot that happened with Watch.
Well, I'm an Apple Watch user, so I see things slightly differently than you, I guess. I really liked what they'd done with the Apple Watch. They didn't reinvent the wheel, but they included some things that we've wanted forever.
May I say they did reinvent the wheel? They allowed you to turn it off.
What do you mean? Turn what off?
You, if you're ill or you can't
Yeah,
make that
okay.
run for the day, you can actually turn off the rings.
Yes, the rings, not the wheels. Okay, I get where you're going there. Yeah, and that was key for me because we don't all have a 7-day schedule, right? Some people have days where they're not going to be active, and we know we're not going to be active, and it kills our streaks, and therefore kills your motivation. And I thought that was a brilliant idea, just to be able to pause, turn it off, but also adjust your rings per day. I have mine set to 600 calories per day, but I know on a Sunday I'm not going to do 600 calories. I don't plan to ever do 600 calories. Great, I'll put it down to 300. Brilliant.
How long until other companies follow that? Because I don't think it's going to be long.
Oh, I don't know what the other systems are like. I was kind of guessing that Apple copied that from someone else.
I don't know if they copied it from somewhere else, but I know that with the Nothing watch that I'm currently wearing, it also has rings on it. I mean, mine's a very basic watch, so I don't imagine them updating that to have this system, but I do imagine Samsung or WatchOS to have these
Fitbit, yeah.
updates.
Also, they introduced the Vitals app,
Yeah.
which is great. So advanced sleep tracking, but also vitals tracking. And there have been rumors of the AirPods Pro having sensors in them. And I'm wondering if that's all going to integrate into Vitals app in the future. Again, Apple's setting up the future. And I think that's probably going to be something that's vital to their future.
I like the fact they have widgets in it as well,
Yeah.
allowing you to adjust it to how you want it to be. I really, really found it funny, the effort rating.
Yeah. But you know what? Again, you do lie to yourself. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
exercise regularly, and it's the gym thing of, well, at least I went. And so that's not a measure of how well you've done, is it? I turned up. So the effort part is great. I like that. You could tell they've really got people on the team who are experiencing these things, and they're not just making features to make them. I fell out of love with Apple, I think, a little bit over the last 5 years. I didn't fall out of love with them, but I didn't feel like they were doing as much things that were needed or required in my life. But I feel like they're getting it back.
I think I had quite the opposite. I left when the iPhone 6 came out because it was such a horrible phone.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the laptops being great and any of it going very well. And then the M1 came out, and then I wanted to come back. Talking... sorry, you go.
I was going to say, let's get into the meaty stuff now.
Okay, so do you want to go for Mac OS or iOS?
Let's start with the phone.
My favorite subject and what might be bringing me back to the phone.
I knew it. I know. I said to myself, Mac's coming back to iPhone. He can't not come back anymore. What excuse do you have now?
What part did you think I got excited about?
You would have liked the icons because you like arranging things and the kind of customization of the home screen and tints and all that sort of stuff.
So, yeah,
you go. That's
I
the main
don't
thing.
like the movable icons at all.
What?
I don't like that. I very much liked how Apple would force me to have to stick to a nice grid, and they kept it all clean for me. What I do really like is the tint and dark mode.
Yeah. Dark
That was-
mode looks cool.
Immediately, I can have my phone that I currently have looking nicer on an iPhone.
Yeah. That looks cool. Is there going to be problems with that, though? I imagine there is, because as you know, all brands have their own style guide. Doesn't
Yeah.
that go against style guide regulations and rules or
Yeah.
guides, I guess?
Specifically with Facebook, I think has very harsh rules around it.
Yeah. And now are they going to force Facebook to say, no, your icon has to be red?
So I don't believe they're going to force people to have dark mode versions of their apps at all.
Okay.
But tinted is a requirement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
I don't know what happens there then, because they're bullying their position a bit there, because who's going to pull out of iPhone or Apple iOS system because they don't want to change their style guide? That could be death to most of these companies.
they have the new control panel organization, which has desperately been needed for a very long time.
Yeah, that's lovely. I like that.
I didn't realize that it's blurry for everyone now because I was still on the iPhone 5 and I remember there being a panel you had to swipe up. I didn't know that the background goes blurry. I didn't like that initially, but
All right.
it's no different for anyone else. I really like that they now allow people to put whatever they want from apps onto them and have categories. Categories is amazing. I know they tried it in the past, but it's back and it's even better.
Yeah.
Because now you can have great house controls.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is sorry for the phrase, a game changer. I think even more so than customizable home screen, because most times we use our phone via the control center. Well, I do. I don't open up the phone unless I want an app. So the fact that I can get rid of things like focus mode, great, or calculator. I don't use these things from the home screen. And the fact that third-party developers can put their controls on it too, wow. If I can, in fact, they showed someone Figarige cooled down his Ford, didn't he? His car.
Did he?
Yeah, so he turned it down. He said, "Oh, I want to make that cooler." So if I can like precondition my car from that lock screen, that's a game changer.
That is going to be great. I will say that Android has had something like this for a while. It's just not anywhere near as customizable. You can,
Oh, really?
You can add all the buttons you want from any app. You can't resize them, and you can't change how it looks in a way. You've kind of just stuck with this weird bean-shaped button. I mean, that's my experience. It could be different on other people's Android because Android's entirely customizable to each person. But there you go.
The possibilities are endless. I'm thinking now I could program my front door to that. I can't wait. Set alarms from there. It's going to be great.
Well, you don't even need to unlock your door now because you can apparently use your phone to unlock the door if you have a smart door.
I do have a smart door, and when I get within a certain radius of the house, the door opens, which is great. But, and this is a side rant, sorry, Yale, please fix this. I get within the ring fence, my front door opens, but then I have to run to the front door because it closes within about 20 seconds, and you can't adjust the amount of time. So
You've got a Tomb Raider door or a
yeah, basically,
Indiana Jones door.
Slide under the door. So if I drive home, it's quite funny. Sometimes I'm backing up. If it's raining, especially, I back up and I just open the door of the car and run to the front door and open it, and then walk back to the car to get what I need out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to see an animation of that.
I might have some footage from my doorbell of me just sprinting and then running back.
Funny to see. They also announced hidden unlocked apps. Yet again, that is a feature with Android, specifically Nothing OS that I use, allows you to lock apps as well. I don't know about OSs, but I actually think most Apple people, I think, were just sat there going, why do we need this? Personally, I think this is a great thing, not just for hiding inappropriate apps, I should say that, specifically for hiding your bank account and any unwanted apps. Quite often, I get a load of apps that come with Google, and I just don't use any of those, but I need them installed to use Google Assistant and stuff like that. So I hide them in there. Okay.
I think Apple done a good job. Their marketing team are great. You know, they're very aware. They know that half of the people are going to use this to hide something from their significant other or something, but they framed it quite well. How did they put it? Oh, if you want to share your phone with somebody else, but you don't want them to access certain things, which I thought was great. However, the implementation hopefully changes. At the moment, it's a blacklist option. I think they should make a whitelist option as well. So if you really want to share it with someone, you could say they can only use this app, not they can't use that app.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's great. I like it.
I quite like the idea, specifically with their announcement of Apple AI, or Apple Intelligence, sorry. They have allowed you to have a way that it doesn't read it, because they very much stated that it wouldn't read any of that information from
notifications. Yeah.
So if you can put those in there, that's better. I don't know what happens with notifications. Let's say if your bank says that your account's been compromised in some way via the app, do you still get those notifications, or
no.
That might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But I suppose you know what you're doing when you put your banking app in there. I think I was a bit slightly confused. I know this has been implemented system-wide, and I guess that's what it is, because I've got that on WhatsApp already. I have to have Face ID to be able to get into WhatsApp. So that's always been available in iOS. But I think it's been an option for the developers rather than obviously an OS-wide thing. So this is silly, but I thought, I wish I didn't have that on WhatsApp already. So it felt new because it's not. And for me, it would only be my messaging apps that I would protect like that.
I have it on twice on my banking app just to double check that. I don't know why, really. I think it just makes me feel like it's more secure by having it have to happen twice.
Because you've got lots of money, that's why.
No, not when I keep buying products. They added in send message later. I'm very happy about that.
Really? Would you use that?
Yes, I would definitely use that for you.
Eli, remember to do this. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. I would use it because you have that block, that timer block that doesn't mean any messages can get to you. I think this is only with iMessage at the moment, though. I would love to be able to set it for just after that time the next day to then send it then.
You'd have to know what times I've got. I will let you in on a secret, though. If you message me, I think it's 3 times or call me 3 times, it will force through.
Will it?
Yeah.
Intriguing.
That's
Thank you.
That's like the setting I've got on there. So
why would you tell me that?
But now you know, don't you?
Yeah. You also said it in a podcast episode.
There you go. Everyone knows that about me.
The text effects, absolutely pointless. Why?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's pointless. I think it wasted keynote time. But
yeah. Oh, okay. Some people will use it, but for me, I'm never gonna use that.
Not even the shake. No.
The shake. Oh, I remember the shake.
No, like the shake text effect.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about like how you could shake it to erase it or activate the animations that would be on them.
Yeah.
I think the only one I've ever used was that kind of secret one that you have to swipe your finger across.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
You used to be able to send a message and it would blur the message until someone
yes, I've
swiped
seen
that way.
that. Yeah.
That's the only one I've ever used, I think.
I do think they've got. I do think having text formatting is useful in text messages, bold and underline, italics.
Yeah, but it's not Markdown, so I'm not using it.
It's not what, sorry?
It's not Markdown.
What do you mean?
It's not Obsidian based.
Okay, so you can't. You're getting an iPhone, so it's fine.
I would just give me the option to have Markdown in any message, and I'll be happy. They also had satellite messaging. I don't know how many people are going to ever use this feature.
Yeah, and I don't think they count on you using it. I bet you can't optionally use it. It's only when needed.
Yeah, probably. Because you might cause too much traffic for these satellites at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. It's great. We're speaking from a place of living in a busy town or city, but for people that live in rural communities or thinking of America and this, how sparse and how, that land, there may be people living in the middle of Texas somewhere that can never get a signal when they go to a certain place. That's going to be a life changer for them.
I was also surprised to find out that it is free to send a message on it.
That's great. That's great. I'd love to see Apple's a very not a detailed version of Apple's spreadsheet of losses and how they result into gains, because that satellite stuff is coming at an expense to Apple. But how many iPhones do they sell as a result of that? Or how many people subscribe to iCloud? That'd be really interesting.
I've got tap to cash written down, which I thought was very interesting, but I don't know if I ever use that feature. I might do. I might not. If I was on iPhone.
You will. I think it's going to be down to how you socialize. And, I'm out with mates quite a bit. And there's always a moment every time you're out where someone's got to pass money around. And we kind of use banking apps, but that's going to change that. That's brilliant.
How much money does the animation department have for Apple? Because they're doing a lot at the moment.
That was great, that animation. And they're always combined with the vibration motors too. The haptic engine.
Of course they are.
So you'll feel your money being drained out of your account.
Have you seen the subtle animations? I don't know if it's just with iOS 18, but there's a subtle animation now that when you press the volume buttons or the side buttons, it just moves a little blob out on the side of the screen.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's so subtle. Why would anyone need that? And yet Apple has spent so much time making it.
Yeah. Attention to detail. It started with the Do you remember when Steve Jobs, or you've probably seen when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, and he was really showing off the rubber banding effect of scrolling up and down.
Yeah.
And it's those tiny things all add up to give you that polished experience that I don't feel on my Android phone at all when I use it.
Yeah, I don't like Android. I don't know why I ever swapped to it. I've got RCS on the subject of Android. RCS has finally come out.
Yeah,
even
not
though
a big deal.
It wasn't mentioned at all in the presentation. It was only left afterwards in the what do they call that screen? Just the kind of the screen.
It was in the
summary
image,
over it.
wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
in the kind of summary picture. Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny. That really shows how much Apple really didn't want to mention it, but they had to. We got a new email app with categories, which is just great, but this was needed such a long time ago. And I have here written screenshot filter. I don't remember
What's
what that
that?
is. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah. So in the Photos app, because they got the new Photos app we've even spoken about.
Yeah.
There's a screenshot filter there, which is really cool because then I can just filter and delete all of my screenshots at once. However, there's a hack for that. I use Google Photos and delete my screenshots in Google Photos, and then it removes them from my Apple Photos. So done. Okay, so Mac OS is the number one update for me. That's the biggest one. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. And it's the only one that will work on my device.
Yeah, that's true. Same here. I can't really pronounce the name of it. Secura?
Yeah, I'll let you pronounce that one. All I know is that I think Toyota have got a car with the same name.
Yeah,
and that's
I
becoming a bit
saw
of
that joke.
a thing. Yeah.
They announced the feature to remote into your phone. I just couldn't understand why, and then I discussed with my dad afterwards, and he pointed out a few areas that it would actually be quite nice to have. So I slightly see it.
That's the feature. I mean, for me, I was sold as soon as they announced. That's the best feature. Again, something that Apple brought out that I never knew I needed. That's a brilliant feature.
For me, I just saw that as a way to distract yourself by using social media again. But when my dad said, remember the authenticator you have on your phone?
Yes.
Now you have a really easy way of getting to that. Oh, yeah.
So at my other job, you need an authenticator for every system. We have every day I'm opening 7 or 8 systems and websites. Authenticate for every single one. That's solved. I might want to add as well, you don't have an iPhone, so you'll start seeing a need for it a bit more when you do.
Yeah.
I do a lot of editing and social media stuff. The amount of times I have to airdrop, and it sounds like a minor thing, but it's not. I have to airdrop a video to your phone, test it on the phone, go back, airdrop it again, upload it to social media. When you go to social media and you're adding kind of the overlays and typing them and moving them around, I could do that all with my mouse and keyboard. This is changing the game for me. It's my workflow is going to improve.
They have really good networking there. We do not here, so that's going to be nowhere near as fast as that.
Yeah.
So that is a downside that we're going to have to see when it comes out.
We'll see, because it when you airdrop or airplay your phone to your Mac screen that takes over the whole screen, that is pretty much one-to-one when I use it here where I am right now.
I have got one subject that I am rather annoyed about.
Okay.
That they announced Snap Lock for Windows. I'm
And
annoyed
you're
about
upset
it.
because you bought third party? Yeah, me
I
too.
paid for that. I'm so annoyed about that because I only brought this MacBook, 4 or 5 months ago? And that's already something I regret buying.
Which one do you have?
I think it's literally just called Window Manager. What is it called? Magnet.
Magnet's great, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm annoyed about that, but I will still keep using Magnet for one reason so far that I've seen.
Yeah.
There's a gap around every app.
Yes, it's beta, isn't it?
I don't like that gap at all. I like to have as much screen space taken up by the data I need.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably won't use that feature when it comes out. Apart from the quarter snap locks, I think that's better to be dragging it into those positions than to be using shortcuts.
Well, I do feel bad for Rectangle. I use Rectangle, Magnet, and there's another one that I've actually got. I don't use it anymore because it's instant death to those companies. Oh, well, not instant death, but they'll still have the older users who use the old OSs. But yeah, how do you compete with that? You don't need to. They might be slightly better, but as an average Joe user, are you going to download an app that your computer already kind of does?
I don't think average Joe users download that anyway. My mum doesn't download it.
Yeah,
But
that's
I will
true.
say, I've got a Windows computer behind me, and on that comes with Windows snap blocking to everything.
Mhm.
And yet I don't use that. I installed an add-on from their Toy Box toolkit, whatever it's called,
Okay.
allowing me to make custom ones and move stuff around like that. So these apps are going to have to target towards customization of versions of them and being able to use very specific shortcuts to do very specific things. It does mean most of their market will probably go down,
Yeah.
but if they try and make these more custom, that would be great.
WWDC is a week, not just an event, and it's a week for developers, essentially, not for us end users.
I'm sorry,
But-
the Worldwide Developer Conference is for developers.
Yeah. Do you think that developers, especially smaller ones like Rectangle, kind of sit at WWDC every year, and instead of being excited, they're kind of scared? Like, I hope
Pull
Apple
out their
don't-
hair.
Please
No,
don't
not
kill us
again.
this year. Yeah, please don't kill us. Because they've killed, there's another company coming up that I'm sure we'll discuss that they're about to significantly impact just by announcing that we're going to make that product instead of you.
I imagine it's a bit of both. It depends on what areas that you've been working on. If it's an app that's very custom and allows people to like use it for entertainment, that's probably going to survive a very long time. If
Yeah.
it's an app to solve a problem that Apple has, you're bound to know that eventually this app will be unnecessary.
I suppose at best you can just hope that Apple buys your technology or
Yeah.
yeah. But if they don't, then that's game over.
Apple also updated their website system to add a little summary bot AI thingy. It
Yep.
was interesting. Not really anything I can mention because I use Arc and that already has it.
Mm. Okay. But again, is Arc looking at that thinking, oh crap?
Yeah, probably. I was thinking that quite a few times when watching stuff like this. That Arc is slowly getting kind of tacked on, but they want their whole business plan is to improve the internet that we currently exist with by making it slightly better. So
Okay.
that's better. They updated their viewer. It's okay. It's also no different to other viewers I've used. It has the image and it has the text. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the new game kit's amazing.
No, it's not.
It is, because it made it a lot easier to have other platform, iPhone and all that. But that is actually bad. You know, in fair point, yeah, that is it.
I mean, and they lowered the latency for controllers and things like that.
And I didn't realize how many games are already on Mac that are really powerful.
Yeah.
Because
It's just-
I promised I would not play games on this computer to myself.
Don't do it.
And I've kept my PC just for doing that. And it is weird to just see how many games I play on my PC are now on here. I didn't know Borderlands 3 was on here.
Well, you know, it's nice to keep things separate. I think having different platforms for different things is always a sensible thing. So you're doing the right thing, Mac. Don't do it.
I already have plans that if I got the iPad, I'd put all my media on there and just have my phone for notifications and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now on to the really big subject for the whole thing. Apple Intelligence, which I've spelt wrong in the document. What's your favorite part of it? Because there's so much to go through.
I think we've been spoiled by, you know, I've got ChatGPT. I've got the premium version of that. I'm very aware of Gemini and used it. And I was one of the first people using the image generators when they first came out in November a couple of years ago. So there's nothing really new. What I do really like is the integration of the Grammarly killer at OS level. I think that's amazing. So I think they called it, did they call it proof or rewrite and proof or something else? That's my favorite part. Very simple, but the execution, the way it looks great. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to cancel my Grammarly subscription. Or, sorry, I can't wait to stop using the other person's Grammarly subscription that I currently do.
I have dyslexia, and I've always used these type of tools to help me with my dyslexia.
Yeah.
But I was not excited by that tool at all.
Okay.
I think I've got very much used to using ChatGPT in that way.
Mhm.
So I think it will take me some time to swap over when
Yeah.
this kind of feature comes out.
Yeah.
I thought the most exciting thing was, did you see that chunk of data that it went through? I didn't notice this at all until I watched Snazzy Lab's review of the whole event. But there was this moment where Figarige was just standing there actually, and he had this message behind him of this guy who had to go to a meeting, but also go to his daughter's concert.
Yes. Yep.
And it brought up the data about the concert sent from
map
the daughter. And then it went for the map to figure out how far they would go, and then answered it for him.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
That's impressive. It's really going to be a personal assistant now, Siri, and that's what we've been waiting for 10 plus years.
I can't wait. And when they announce this for the HomePod, it's the first thing I'm going to get, and I'm just going to have it on my desk, and I'm going to absolutely love it, because I've wanted this personal assistant for so many years. Pretty much since I watched Avengers as a kid, I've wanted a personal assistant.
Yes.
So I'm so excited that it's becoming a thing.
Well, it really is. And it's, do you know what? We watched, what was on our television? So we were watching Chris Nolan, Interstellar recently, me and my son. And they've got their little robots that assist them. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Okay. So they're kind of robots that partner with them and their partners. And I said, Isaiah, look, those robots, when we watched this 10 years ago, what they could do was mind blowing. You could request it does something for you. It offers assistance when you need it. But actually, we're literally there now. It's less than 10 years later.
I know.
And it's on the iPhone, and it can truly achieve that. So the next step, obviously, is integrating that intelligence with a physical thing. But if that took 10 years to get there, we'll be there in 5.
I will say there are amazing features on this I really liked. I really liked the visual aspect of it as well. The outline is lovely. I think that's great. It really shows that it's looking at your screen for that information.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
Let's not ignore the fact that this is exactly the same as what Microsoft has done like a couple of weeks ago. They just rephrased it in a different way, and they really, really explained the data privacy behind it all, and very much went into where your data is being stored, how it's being accessed. And I think that's enough to convince me I trust this company a lot more than Microsoft. There's going to be a lot of people at Microsoft who are very annoyed at all that time and effort that they put into making this amazing thing, but they explained it by taking screenshots of your screen. That's not going to go well.
No way. The message is really important. There's so much good tech out there, but it's just not clearly communicated. And Microsoft still don't get it.
Yeah. I'm so excited to try this feature. When it comes out, I want to use it immediately, but I can't. I'm going to wait. Wait.
So will it work? Just to confirm, because you've read into this more than me, that Apple Intelligence is going to work across all M1 products or just the most recent M1
all
product?
M1 products. I did actually read an article on this afterwards. It's every M1 product and A16, I think. No, A17 Bionic chip.
Oh, wow.
We'll have it. The latest iPhone is the easy way of putting that.
Okay, so in September when iPhone 16 comes out, I shall be buying an iPhone 15. Great.
Yeah. So it's just like such an exciting time for AI integrations and stuff like that. Talking of integrations, it can do actions. It has actions built into it, so it can do stuff on your apps. It can generate really creepy images that no one's going to use.
Someone will, yeah.
Who's going to use that? I mean, they're even naff images. Even when they had like that picture of a tree or something that they put in a document in a church and a building, they were all naff. They were worse than the original drawing. Yeah,
that's true. The actions is cool. Having that deep integration is something that we haven't had when we've got these chatbots on, using ChatGPT. You have to kind of physically give it things. But now being able to look into your contacts, I like the example they gave when they said, add this to my contacts and then punch up the picture a bit. That's where it needs to go. And, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I mean, I see a very good use for the AI emojis, and I'm pretty sure that's how my dad's going to communicate to the rest of us for the rest of the time that it exists. But the AI images are just creepy. I don't think I can see that being used.
Picture this scenario. Me and you, we both work with video and audio and images. You've just created a video that's going to go onto YouTube, and the video's there, and you say, look, open this video, find a picture, find a frame with me in it where I'm smiling, take a screenshot, and then put that into Photoshop for me.
Oh,
wow.
That'd be amazing.
I mean, if they're integrating apps and allowing developers to integrate that API, that's what's going to happen in the next 12 months. This is going to clean up my desktop and get rid of every picture that has me with my eyes closed, and then put them into a folder called Use Later.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
Immediately to be able to control the OS just by talking to it is amazing.
And that is system wide. And that's what Elon Musk had a problem with. However, I don't know if he watched the keynote, because they spent a lot of time explaining to you that system wide stuff is done on their kind of bubble personal data thing. I can't remember what they called it.
They called it PCC. I can't remember what it fully standard for again, but
Right.
it works like blockchain, which is
Yes.
just great to see that existing. Blockchain has been a thing for a while, and it's very exciting. And I see small companies giving it a try. Microsoft's given it a few tries, but they're not fully involved in that whole security thing. This is the first time I've seen that technology fully implemented with something that actually provides security.
Yeah.
And the fact that it even checks with you now, this is going to be sent to ChatGPT. Are you okay with that?
That's going to be annoying, by the way. I'm just saying.
It's going to be annoying, but I'm happy they did it.
Yeah. Well, how long until they give you an option to say always allow?
I don't feel like they will, because at the moment when you set up a MacBook, there's no always allow, is there? It's just constantly, I've got boxes appearing up on the screen when you set one up.
Yeah, I guess.
I
No,
feel like
you
that-
can turn that off. You can turn that off.
Can you really?
For devices, yeah, you can turn that off.
Okay, I might do that.
It's only when you connect a new device for the first time, but you can turn it off anyway in the system preferences.
Oh, I can say one part of it I didn't like. Well, two parts actually. The images cleanup, I don't like that. I personally like the image to be what it was. I know very
Yeah.
many people are quite enjoying the fact you can remove a random person in the background.
Yeah.
I think the only time I'd ever use that is if there's someone playing bagpipes in the background, but I prefer that to be a feature in
On a
real
beach.
life.
I mean, they've got to keep up with the Joneses, and that feature, they didn't put a lot of time into that. That was just to say, look, we can do that too.
I didn't like the animation entirely. I think the nice rainbowy corner thing is great. I think that's amazing. The weird pulsate it has as you press the button, I'm not a big fan of that. I know it's a big thing that they're doing at the moment with the animation from the top as well.
Yeah.
But personally, I think that's a bit too much and kind of distracting from what you're maybe looking at on the screen. If you're trying to read something to the AI and suddenly you've got like ripples coming across the screen, that might cause a bit of a problem.
Yeah. My phone's ringing. I've got to pick this up. 1 second, Matt. Sorry about that, Matt.
I just think it's funny.
Alright.
The fact that you can show off by unlocking your car from the fact you're sat in a podcast.
It's my mum. You know my mum works here. She's always going off into town and buying stuff and saying, let me put it in your boot and you can drop it at my house later on today. So,
Yeah, but you're
and
regretting
before
buying
I
that
used to
now.
have to come out. Yeah, I used to always have to go out, and now, yeah, now she knows I can do it that way. She just does it more.
There's one downside then.
Yes, yeah, it's always the way, isn't it? The more tech you get, the more people expect. The more accessible you are, the more people will contact you.
Yeah. That's why I'm worried about that new iPad feature.
Yeah, come and fix my iPad, please. And when they really, you know what people will do, especially knowing that you're the tech person, they'll have a minor problem that they could probably solve if they put a little bit of thought or a Google search. But it's easier just to push Mac on the contacts.
Yeah. Not for me though.
No,
Or for
exactly.
you. Anyway, recording audio in notes. That should have been a feature a while ago. I don't know why that's included in the AI section, but it was. They did say that.
Because it's going to transcribe as well.
Oh, okay. Right.
But it's a great feature for journalists, I'd add, because recording interviews is always a pain. You always have to have some sort of hardware, either at a studio or roadcasters, things like that. So being able to do that and have it transcribed is a bit of a game changer.
If you can
And
figure
if-
out who's talking
Go on.
when, would be amazing. And it kind of means I could just leave it running when we record an episode as well.
Well, it should be, right? Because it's one audio has come from one source and another's coming from the other. So it should definitely be able to do that like perfectly. I would like to know if it records, obviously it's going to record their signal, how it receives it in terms of the quality and compression or whatever. How does it record your audio? I'd be interested to see that. Hopefully
Yeah.
it records it clean as it does with the mics. And if it's an Apple, if it's like a VoIP call, then the audios can be perfect. That'd be great for journalists.
And this also includes phone calls now as well.
Yeah.
We could do podcast over phone call with transcribing.
Yeah.
And record it.
Amazing. It's a great feature.
Other AI models will be supported soon is something they mentioned, which I thought was interesting. I don't know.
It sounded like they were asking, didn't
It
it?
did sound like they were asking.
Please.
Please join us. I do like that they solved email entirely. I don't ever have to see it anymore, really. I can just keep asking it, what's my emails for today? Summarize it. Goodbye. I don't want to ever see emails again, really.
Yeah, and I thought that was quite a cool feature. Like at work, especially, you get these really long emails, and the purpose of the email is in paragraph 3. So the summary and putting that to the top is really cool.
I wonder if you can set it up so you can have specific AIs to understand specific people when you don't understand them. Priority messages, perhaps the first thing they mentioned, we've kind of left it near last because it's another thing that exists. I mean, they've already got limits on messages already. I don't know if this is entirely necessary to have.
I can't remember what it was. Can you explain it?
It just figures out what you want at that time, so it blocks out all the other notifications and only ever has, let's say, your mum's text you, then that will come up as a priority message, while the rest of them, Reddit has said, Mark Zuckerberg has said something silly again.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
You don't want to know that, really.
Yeah. That's focus mode, right? Surely.
It's sort of a focus mode of its own. I think it's included in the focus mode, actually.
Yeah.
And finally, the thing that I want to mention, perhaps the creepiest thing it can do, it can figure out your driver's license data.
That was the example they gave, but yeah, that's a great feature.
No, that's creepy. Why the hell would you want that?
All the time. Like when you're filling out things online, if you're renting a car and they say, what's your driving license number? And it's 11 digits. And you can just say to your phone, get my driving license number.
I don't like that at all.
Because I do have my passport and my driver's license saved in a protected note on Notes, just for that reason. So I can copy and paste from the picture. So that's just the next step. What was my driving license number?
I keep that information in a locked wallet inside a Proton Pass. There's no way I'm letting that get out.
Well, Proton Pass will have the API to be able to share that information with Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But when that feature's there, and you telling me you're not going to use it and you're going to take those 4 steps, they know what's going to happen.
No idea. I would like to say I wouldn't do that, but I probably would. You're right.
It's so convenient. Do you remember when you first started to use autofills, or has that kind of been something that's always been a thing for you?
No, there was a point in my technical life that there wasn't autofills.
Yeah. And that, for me, I don't know how it felt for you, but that felt like, wow, I could never go back. And when I go onto a PC that's not mine and it doesn't autofill my address and my bank details, I don't buy the thing. I wait until I go on my phone.
Yeah. Here's one thing that there wasn't mentioned at all in any of it. How much storage, because it's going to take up quite a bit, will be used by Apple Intelligence on your devices?
And yeah, and is it temporary storage? Does it delete it after a certain amount of time if you're not accessing that type of query anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that this storage is locked even from the user, because that really, I think, shows how much time and effort they want to put into encryption and making sure it's safe. I think users should be able to have access to it, but it shouldn't be easy. Not like Microsoft, who just allows you to go in the folder.
Well, I don't know, it might have been Linus was talking about the Microsoft recall feature, and the way he described it made sense to me. So it's encrypted or whatnot. Yeah, it's not accessible. But as soon as the laptop is open, unlocked, it's completely accessible.
Yeah.
So it's like having all of your valuables, he said, in the middle of a room that's unlocked whilst you're in it.
The main problem is it's unlocked for any admin user. So if someone is an admin user and you're on your own account, let's say work has the admin account and they can now access all of the stuff that you have looked at in general. I see it as a big problem because there are going to be moments in the day when someone goes, I just want to play a game. I'm going to watch something. I'm going to relax just for a little bit and then get back to work. Now work can tell exactly when you did that and for how long you did that for.
Are we not? Yeah, okay. Is that a problem with the Apple system with locked apps, though? Because Apple need to come up with a second way to authenticate things. If someone has access to your Face ID or they've registered their face or their thumb, and they can get into your phone, then they can get into your locked apps.
Yeah.
there needs to be a secondary way to or maybe a second password or a different finger. I don't
know if Apple would support that really, because I think they
Yeah.
expect you to either trust people or not allow anyone else on that device at all. Just have your fingerprint on
Yeah.
it. I will say that I have my fingerprint on quite a lot of my nan and granddad's devices just to help them out and stuff. So I see the
Yeah.
problem there already.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely everything I had to mention. We went through every single note apart from TV, which I can quickly summarize as I'm really looking forward to everything coming to TV.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Did you see the trailer at the start for all the new Apple TV
oh, yeah,
things?
yeah.
Did you notice a certain season 2
Of Severance?
of Severance? show
Oh,
up?
yeah. I'm very excited for that. Along
Oh.
with Silo and there's one other one that was mentioned that I'm really excited about. I was intrigued in Wolves, and Fly Me to the Moon was the other one that seemed interesting.
Right. I'll have to check those out.
I've been recently watching Sugar, which put off the show for a while because it just looked like a detective show, but it's really interesting, so I would actually recommend giving that a watch.
That's an Apple TV?
That's an Apple TV.
Okay, cool. You know what? One thing I would say is I trust the quality of artistry in any show that I would open on Apple TV. Whether I'm going to like it or not, I trust it is going to be well done, and there's a lot of thought gone into it. So I'll give it a go.
I see a lot of people who say that their best show is that football one that they have.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Wrexham? No, that's not it. The comedy. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Personally, I don't like the show, but I don't think it's their best show. There are so many good shows on there. You've got Severance, and you've got Silo, you've got Slow Horses. If you're not an Apple TV user, give it a try. I mean, you get a free trial when you get a new device.
I've been on Apple TV free trial for about 2 years because every time it runs out, there's another code somewhere that I just use. It's great.
We're paying for it now. Well, on that note, I think we can wrap up the episode. You can check out Eli's work on his socials or on his podcast, Where the Keys At. Actually, hang on, let's stop it. Are you still doing Where the Keys At?
We are. So we ran into a bit when I started working for the Beeb in December. I had to agree to not have opinions on certain things, but yeah, your answer is it's still there. I'm just trying to work out how it moves forward without me being a part of it as much.
I've recently published an episode, Press Red podcast, that I wasn't in for the first time.
Cool.
God, that was weird.
Was that with Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan, Jonas, and Eric hosted the episode. They just spent the entire time talking about me, not thinking I'd listen to the episode. I listened to the whole thing, and I've got some notes to tell them. Anyway, to follow me, I am at MacBlatt on mastodonapp.uk. This episode was edited by me, Mac Blackman, and thank you for listening to this episode of Functions. We will see you in the next one. Goodbye.